If the current climate has taught us anything, it is the value of being able to have a really hard conversation. Now, while having these difficult conversations is never easy and it's never fun, there are ways that you can handle them so that you can maintain control while also being positive and productive. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. My name is Andrea Eppolito, and I am a Las Vegas-based wedding planner. We are here today celebrating life, luxury, and above all else, love. So if you are a wedding pro or an event professional, or if you're simply a lover of all things weddings, events, lifestyle, and business, then welcome. You are in the right place, and I am simply thrilled to have you here. So please take a moment, click the subscribe button, and turn on your notifications so that you do not miss a moment of the inspiration and the education that I provide here on this channel every week. Now, hard conversations. Gosh, as a wedding planner, it is my job to tackle difficult situations on a very regular basis. Sometimes, like today, it means having to tell a couple that the wedding they've always dreamed of simply isn't going to happen. Or other times, I'm explaining to a vendor that they haven't gotten chosen for a piece of business that they really, really wanted. Now, as a leader, we are all going to be put in positions where we need to have difficult conversations on a very regular basis. Personally, I've always chosen to just dive headfirst into these conversations. My dad was a big proponent of that. He always said that you should rip off the Band-Aid and tackle the hard things and the problems head on. He believed that the sooner you put all the cards on the table, the easier it would be to get everyone together so that you could find a solution. And that's what I have done throughout my entire career. So today I want to share with you my 10 tips for having a really hard conversation, whether it's with a client or with a creative partner. Tip number 1. You want to get out in front of the problem. Don't hide. I cannot tell you how many wedding professionals and just people in general try to hide when there is something tough that you need to talk about, something that isn't going well. I see people avoiding phone calls or not answering text messages. They seem to think that if you avoid the problem, like coronavirus, for example, that it'll just go away. This never works. Problems don't disappear by themselves. They take work, and the work doesn't happen without you. And so instead of trying to avoid a problem, get in front of it, take ownership of the situation and control the narrative, because by reaching out first, you will show confidence and control, both of which are vital to being able to have a successful, tough talk. Tip number 2, be direct. Difficult conversations become so much more difficult when the delivery is muddled. So be very direct and straightforward and very clear. You may be tempted to sugarcoat a delivery or maybe paint a situation as better as it is. Don't do that. You are not helping anyone. You're only going to be prolonging a problem and the inevitable hurt and anguish that comes from not being fully transparent up front. Number 3, be specific about the problem. Whether you are delivering feedback about performance or simply sharing information and bad news, you want to be as specific as humanly possible. Give detailed information, concrete examples, and lay out the situation as it is. You want to present things in a black and white fashion so that they're not left open to interpretation. The more clarity you can provide, the better your client and partner and vendors are going to be at accepting and processing the reality of where you are today. Tip number 4 is to plan out the conversation. Take time to plan out what you're going to say and how you're going to say it. Make a list of all of the points that you need to hit in order to fully explain what's happening right now. Then take a minute to anticipate how the other person you're speaking to may react. What questions may they have? What are they going to ask you? Do you have answers to those questions? Go back and provide as much information, no matter how difficult it can be. Because the more prepared you are, the easier it's going to be for you to stay calm and to stay on point. And if there are questions that you truly do not have an answer to, you need to be prepared to say that up front. Tip number 5 is to choose your words very carefully. Words have weight. They are deeply impactful. and meaningful. Some of the terms that you're going to use are going to have emotional implications, and some of them could potentially have a legal impact. So you want to be selective in your vocabulary. Avoid words like always, never, and guarantee. Be as careful as you can be to keep things non-personal. And while it may seem silly to say, avoid anything that places blame on something or someone else. Even today, coronavirus is a global pandemic, but there are people above us in the government that are making decisions that are going to impact our work. Don't blame a governor or a venue or another entity. You just want to stick to the facts as they are, regardless of who and what caused them. This is going to stop people from trying to play the blame game and maybe even negotiate their way through a situation if it's very clear. Tip number 6 is to offer a solution. There's nothing worse than delivering bad news and just letting it land without having a pathway forward. Every scenario has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So start with the problem at hand, explain and offer various solutions, and then outline what will happen based on the course of action. Once you can detail what may or may not happen, your counterpart is going to be able to listen and hear it and then make the best decision for themselves as possible. Tip number 7 is to manage your emotions. Hard conversations are hard for everyone. There's no one that I know that enjoys firing an employee or critiquing another team's performance. Especially right now in our industry, it's incredibly hard to tell a client that the wedding that they have dreamt of is not going to happen either when or how they wanted it to. But this is the job, and it is our responsibility to have these conversations in as calm and professional of a manner as possible. So do not let your emotions dictate your delivery. If you find that you're getting emotional, the other person is going to feed off of it, and it's a recipe for disaster because it doesn't move the needle forward. This is especially important when the conversation is maybe with an employee that you need to furlough or a vendor that you really and truly genuinely care about. As hard as it may seem, you have to take a step back and remove the relationship from the equation. This is where simplifying the scenario down to just the basic facts is going to be very helpful for you. You can focus solely on what's at hand, and if emotions begin to take over, you have to stop. You're in control of your feelings. So pause, breathe, go back to your notes, and then effectively deliver a message and acknowledge we're all upset, but we need to talk about this so that we can move forward. Tip number 8 is to be empathetic. Even with all the things that I'm saying, the most important thing for you to do is to empathize. Imagine how difficult the news that you're delivering is to hear. In one conversation, you have the power to change someone's entire worldview. You may be taking away employment or self-worth or financial stability. You could be killing a dream that they've had for years and removing the opportunity for them to be with people that they love. Hold space for the other person and allow them time to process their emotions. And if you see that they're struggling to kind of make sense of what you've said, give them a moment and allow them to collect themselves. Because in all cases, you really want to remind people that you are there and you are on their side. It may not feel like it, but you're having these hard conversations so that you can work together and move forward in a better, more meaningful and realistic way. Tip number 9 is to allow the other person to ask questions. Regardless of how well you've prepared your speech and your notes, this is new information to the person that you're speaking to. So you want to give them the opportunity to ask questions and keep an open forum. By doing this, you can clarify and solidify the details of the conversation. You are helping your counterpart process, and you're maintaining a dialogue so that you can ultimately work to finding a solution together. And tip number 10 is to really remember this is your job. Whether you are a wedding planner, a venue manager, a photographer, or any other creative, ultimately what you are charged with doing is taking care of your clients, and it's an awesome responsibility, not for the faint of heart. No matter how harsh, hurtful, and downright heartbreaking it is at times, A hard conversation may be what's required of you. And if that's the case, then it has to be had. You owe it to yourself and your reputation, to your business, your partners, and always to your clients to be as honest and transparent as humanly possible. Now, in my head, I can hear my dad saying, tough times don't last, but tough people do. We've all heard that sayings. And I want to take it a step further and suggest that your value to your clients and to the profession is not just in lasting or persevering throughout this time. Your value lies in how well you do the hard thing when no one else wants to do it. It's about how you move the ball forward, and it's about your ability to take care of people, not just when everything is going well, but really when things are at their worst. That is where you earn your stripes. That is where you show just how good you are and how valuable you are to them. And so I hope that you keep these tips in mind the next time that you have to have a tough conversation. I hope that you are able to deliver difficult news in a way that is calming and professional, in a way that is productive and that ultimately is well received by all, because that is what we are here to do together, is to take care of people that we love. So please go ahead, leave a comment below. Let me know if these tips are helpful to you, how you're using them, and if you appreciate my videos, please give a little like, subscribe to the channel. It would truly mean the world to me. As always, I am here. I am Andrea Eppolito, and we are celebrating life, luxury, and above all else, love. I will talk to you guys again soon. Thanks so much.